It's worrying, to say the very least.
We've all had the same question ever since the announcement that the remainder of the story would be adapted into 2 movies instead of a season 5. How? How are they going to fit all of this in to just 2 movies? Whilst it's not my usual content, I want to run through the numbers
to show you the size of the problem here.
So I covered this previously in a little short before the Battle of the Garbage Dump released, but obviously now we know exactly how far it goes. Things have changed quite a bit. So season 1 covered around 71 chapters in 25 episodes, i.e. 500 minutes at 20 minutes per episode, which gives us a rate of 7 minutes per chapter. Season 2 covered around 78 chapters in, again, 500 minutes for 6.4 minutes per chapter, so a little faster than Season 1, about 10% quicker, but, didn't feel remotely noticeable to me. Season 3 covered around 40 chapters in 10 episodes, so 200 minutes, giving it around 5 minutes per episode. And just to clarify, those numbers aren't perfectly exact because the order of some things in the manga is a little different and whatnot, but the exact numbers really aren't important, as you'll see soon enough. Season 4 covered 85 chapters in, again, 500 minutes for 5.9 minutes per chapter. Now, by comparison, the most recent movie covered around 32 chapters in just 90 minutes, which was 2.8 minutes per chapter. But from what I've heard, despite a few small bits being cut out, it felt fine, pacing-wise. I'll comment below once I've seen it with my thoughts, but apparently it's fine. Now, if for whatever reason you don't know how many chapters remain, I would honestly just click off the video, because I can't go into anything more on this topic without mentioning it, so if you don't know how many chapters are left, thank you very much for stopping by, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Okay, if you're still here, we have 76 chapters remaining, which I am praying is at least put into a 2-hour film. If it's 1.5 hours again, we go through at a rate of 1.2 minutes per chapter, which is surely just not going to happen, right? Surely they wouldn't do that to us, but even at 2 hours, it's 1.6 minutes per chapter, which isn't great, right? Again, because of little differences in the manga and some parts I've just cut out of the manga, like Nekoma versus Bokuto, those numbers aren't exact, but it doesn't really matter, does it? That's still pretty painful to hear, so some parts are definitely going to need to be cut out, and I'm going to go into my thoughts about what, but once again, I'm going to have to go into very major manga spoilers to do so, so if that's something you want to avoid, click off the video now, because obviously these are major spoilers I'm about to cover. Thanks again for stopping by though. So first things first, if you're still here, this is what we've got left, so please excuse the slightly shoddy visuals. If you saw my community post, you know I'm making this on an old laptop of mine, but yeah, this is what we have left to go through. Let's talk about the dream, where they realize, oh wow, this movie's a huge success. Maybe we should, split it into 3 movies. They get more money, we get more Haikyuu, it's a win-win, right? But the thing is, we were all surprised that wasn't the case to start with, right? There's 3 arcs, Nekoma, Kamomedai, post-time skip, so why not just make it 3 movies? The 2 reasons I can think of is, firstly, they weren't sure how well the movie would do, so they wanted to see that first before committing to 3 movies. In which case, maybe we'll get a 3rd movie, now they've seen the success of the first one, which, brilliant if so. But my theory is, and I'm praying I'm wrong on this, and I'm also not saying I'm certain about this by any means, I have a feeling they don't want the time skip arc in its own movie, because I can kind of see why it would probably do a bit worse than the previous 2 if they did it across 3 movies. Because I imagine there's a group of people out there who would lose a lot of interest in it after Karasuno lose at National. Only a small percentage, but I know there's people out there who read the manga and already did that, which is crazy to me because I think Haikyuu has the best ending of any series I've read. But anyway, you can hopefully see the point I'm making in that it's a bit harder to do the marketing for a time skip movie, so it's possible that despite the success of the first one, we still might not get 3. If we do, brilliant, movies 2 and 3 will have a similar pacing to movie 1. If not, let's look at what's likely to be dropped, because it's going to be quite a lot, right? And unfortunately, I think we all know what the first thing to be cut is. I think we've known that ever since the announcement that it was going to be 2 films. We kind of knew we weren't going to get Bokuto's match, which such a shame because I adore that match. It's fantastic, as with everything in Haikyuu. But I do think if anything is going to be cut though, I would probably prefer that match compared to the Brazil arc or anything else. So it's a real shame, but I would be extremely surprised if we got that at all. You know, I think the most we'll get is maybe the last rally or 2.
Hopefully we'll get it in a spin-off. You know, that seems to be what they do with the parts they cut from the manga. So, for example, we saw that with the Nekoma playoffs. But yeah, that's my predictions on that.
So that match was about 11 chapters long, so cutting that drops us to 65 chapters, which still looks very, very rushed. You know, we've got the numbers on screen here. And so next up, obviously the Kamomedai match in its entirety isn't going to be cut. That would be absurd. But I imagine much like the Nekoma match, they'll cut out some of the rallies, except they'll honestly have to cut out a lot more to really condense this match down to give them time for the post-time skip stuff. There's always that slightly horrifying possibility that they don't animate the Brazil arc or the Jackals game at all in order to include the entire match here. But 1, I don't even want to think about that, and 2, that's a very, very unlikely scenario. What I imagine instead will happen is the Brazil arc will mostly be intact, but the Jackals match will have a lot trimmed from it in order to fit everything in. And lastly, I think the last couple chapters will be fully animated.
We'll see the end of the Jackals match and where everyone ends up with their future jobs and whatnot. I'm also super interested to see how they animate the banners that we see all over the place in these last chapters. And then last but certainly not least, the very, very last chapter. I don't think there's any way they cut the Olympic scene
because, you know, it's the very end of the series, so I don't think you have to worry at all about that. We're definitely going to see that final showdown, which I still think Okao won, by the way, and you can watch this video here to see why I think that.
But yeah, unfortunately, unless they make the decision to split what's left of the series into 2 movies, I think we're gonna have to accept that this last movie is gonna be pretty frustrating to watch. They're gonna have to cut a lot, you know, at least a good third, just to match the pacing of the garbage dump film, which, you know, it's a real shame. It's still gonna be incredible, but I can't help but worry quite a bit about it. Let me know what you guys think though.
Anyways, thanks for watching it all the way to the end. Don't worry, we're back to our normal content next for the next video on Kenma, so I'll see you soon for that one. Hope you'll enjoy the movie if you haven't seen it yet, and have a great day.